Good morning. I'm Bonnie Roberts, and this is the Self-Talk Sherpa Show. Today we're going to talk about a fascinating archetype, the Curmudgeon. So around this time of year, this one shows up a lot with characters like the Grinch and Scrooge, and just anyone who doesn't have the holiday spirit is kind of in this archetypal energy. Okay. How many of you identify as kind of a curmudgeon, a Grinch, or a Scrooge? Because I do. I've had a really hard time this year feeling like I'm in the Christmas spirit. It's just been difficult, and it's like Christmas is happening to me, and I feel like I didn't choose into it, and it's just kind of happening. Anybody else? Can anyone else relate to that, or am I just a negative Nelly? Every year it seems like it comes before it's here before I'm ready, and it seems like it just happened, and it's just happening. It feels like it's just happening too frequently, and time is speeding up, and I'm just in this resistance about it. And I put a post up asking people for advice on how I could get in the Christmas spirit. And one person said, I just focus on love. And that really hit me, because how beautiful of a holiday is it that focuses on love? And how have I gotten so off track that I've started to resent a holiday that's all about love? And it just showed me how off track I've been, that I've been focusing on all the stuff that has to be done, all the gifts that have to be bought and wrapped, and all the plans that have to be made, and all the commercialism that just kind of frustrates me, that everything is so commercialized. And so I think the reason why I resist it so much is because I'm not resisting the deeper meanings of this holiday. I'm resisting the superficial trappings and the commercialization of it. And so I found myself resisting all of Christmas because I'm in resistance to the way it's become. Does that make sense? Is anyone else like that? Because I want it to be so much more than it is. I really want it to be about love, and not about obligation, and not about stress and all of the expectations and have-tos around it. If anyone is watching, say hi in the comments so I know who I'm talking to. So as I've thought about this archetype of the Curmudgeon and the Scrooge and the Grinch, I've realized that these two characters of Grinch and Scrooge, these are like the two most beloved stories of the Christmas season. Well, besides the Nativity, of course. But these stories have absolutely captured our hearts. And why? Why do these stories about just despicable characters, why are they so beloved by everyone at Christmas? And it really is about the dramatic transformation that they go through, because they are so hateful, they are so awful in the beginning, and then when they go through their transformation, they become the most loving, the most generous, the most caring. They have the biggest hearts of all. So how is that? How is someone so horrible like Scrooge, how does he turn out to be the most loving and the most caring? And it doesn't make logical sense. But there's something in our hearts that loves to see the dramatic transformation, right? What's that movie that just came out last year, where it's a musical, and it has Will Ferrell, and they try to pick a Scrooge and then transform them. What is that movie called? It's so funny. Someone let me know in the comments. I love it, but I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so what is it about that transformation that we all love so much? And I think it's the hope that we all can experience a dramatic transformation of who we are, because we know that we're not who we want to be. And when we see a character go through that transformation, something resonates in us that, yes, I can change too. I can become a new person. And it's all about Christ. And he is the one that enables us to transform, that gives us the grace to let go of, even when we were so horrible and so awful in the past, that we can just let go of that and step into being a whole new person. And whatever your belief system is, whether you believe in Christ or not, we all have that hope in our heart that we can transform. Oh, Spirited. Yes. Thank you, Lynn. That movie is called Spirited. I definitely want to watch it again this year. It's so good. How many of you have seen Spirited? If you haven't seen it, see it this year. And if you haven't seen The Man Who Invented Christmas, that's about Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol, and how how Scrooge comes to him and he's talking to him the whole time, and how real those characters were in his mind. And it's just a very well done movie, and I've talked about it on this show before. So go see it. It will definitely get you in the Christmas spirit. Okay, so The Curmudgeon, another movie I've talked about on this show is A Man Called Otto, or if you've read the book, A Man Called Ova. Excellent curmudgeon figure. He's just so awful in the beginning, and you're just like, how is this guy just so horrible? Well, he's funny awful, but it's just like, I would never want to actually know this guy in real life. And then by the end, he is so delightful and so loving, and just has the biggest heart. He's the best friend anyone could ever have. And so his transformation, similar to Scrooge and the Grinch, is this curmudgeon energy. So what is it about these curmudgeon types where they have to, and I'm going to expand beyond Grinch and Scrooge a little bit here, but just any of these curmudgeons that have to nitpick about every little thing. So somebody's having fun and they have to poo-poo on it. You know, they have to take issue with every little thing, and they have to stop the flow of harmonious energy. It's like, why do you have to stick your nose in here when everyone else is happy and having fun? Why do you have to like come in here and criticize everything and nitpick and tear down and take issue? Why can't you just go along with and let people live their lives and let people have their fun? And it's just like, you could have said something nice. Why do you always have to say something mean and say something rude? And this was me in my marriage, where I just nitpicked every little thing about my husband. I just always found something wrong, especially when we would go on vacation. I would complain and, oh, you drove this way? Why did you take this street? Why did you park here? Just every little thing I took issue with. And looking back, like, I am not proud of myself, the way I showed up and being that way. But I really have been looking at, okay, why did I have a need to find fault and nitpick and criticize every tiny little choice my husband made, right? Why couldn't anything please me? Why couldn't I just go along with and be happy with whatever it was that we were doing? Why couldn't I just be satisfied? And I still don't have the answer to that question, but I think, but now that I know how much capacity I have to love and to love my life and to enjoy myself, I think I was so scared of stepping into that full embracing of joy, because joy is the most vulnerable emotion. I was so afraid to step into it at all, because I thought that if I fully stepped into joy and then it was taken away, or I went back to my regular, sad, dissatisfied feelings, that I would feel grief. And so I kept joy at arm's length for so many years, because I was so afraid of fully stepping into it and fully experiencing it and then having it be gone. So I found negative things to focus on so that I wouldn't fully step into that joy. And I just look back on that past Bonnie, and I just wish I could tell her, it's okay. It's okay. Embrace the joy. Step into it. Love your life. You're not going to feel that joy all the time, but it's okay. Because even just feeling it for 1 minute, even if you never feel it again, it's worth stepping into it for that 1 minute. I wish I could go back and shake her sometimes, but more than that, I just want to go back and give that past me a hug and just tell her, you don't have to be scared. You don't have to be scared to feel joy. And so I think these curmudgeons have the biggest capacity to feel joy, and they're just scared. They're so scared to connect with someone else, and they're so scared of losing people. They're so scared of going back to the monotony of life, and so they don't step into it. But then we see with the Grinch and Scrooge and Otto, we see that they hit rock bottom, and because they hit rock bottom, they realize the only way to go is up, and that there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling to the joy that you can experience, and they show us that. They show us that it's just a choice, and you can radically transform your capacity for feeling joy. Lynn says, I found things to focus on so that I wouldn't experience joy. That's profound. Thank you. Yeah, and so if you have a curmudgeon in your life, So I just watched Carolyn Mace's video about the curmudgeon, and she's not very positive about it. And I feel differently than she does. Like, she's the archetypes expert that I look up to so much, but I don't agree with her on this one. She says to go up and give them some feedback that they're really not being pleasant to be around and what is going on, you know. And I think we just get to love them. We just get to love them and not criticize them back, but just allow them to feel, give them an experience where they can feel safe to step into feeling connection and feeling joy. But I also think that I do agree with one thing she said. She said that she becomes a curmudgeon when she's depleted, and when she's disempowered, and she takes issue with every little thing, finds the negativity, because it's easier, right? It's easier to see the negativity, and when we don't have the energy to look for the positive, sometimes we just go to focusing on the negative, and it gets to be an alarm bell of, hey, I'm living in a disempowered way if I am constantly being critical and negative, and I get to look inside and see where I've disempowered myself, and I get to let that be an undeniable signal that I get to make some different choices now. So I do like that perspective, because when we hold back all the goodness that we have to give and share, like Scrooge had so much to give and he was holding it back and not giving it, right? When we have so much to give and share, but we hold back and we cut it off, we're anesthetizing our access to our intuition. When we feel the prompting, say something nice to that person, give that person money, right? Or, you know, look that person experiencing homelessness in the eye and help them feel like they're a real person. But we just walk on by instead. When we do that, we are anesthetizing our access to our intuition and our grace. And then next time, we're less likely to even feel the prompting to reach out to someone. And so the more we shut it down and shut it down and shut it down, the less we have access to that part of ourselves. And I think that these curmudgeon types have shut it down so many times that they no longer have access to that compassion, that deep well of compassion inside of them. And so when we're always asking, what's in it for me, it's not natural. Like the way children are naturally so giving and generous, and if we grow up and we're in what's in it for me, something unnatural has happened and we've stifled and shut down a part of ourselves, and we've become something that we are not, that's not who we really are, right? And so if you find yourself, oh, but what's in it for me? But what am I going to get out of that? That can also be an alarm bell that you're not living your truth, that you're not being true to who you are. And so what I love about these negative archetypes is they're warnings. They're warnings that we are not being authentic, and we get to step into, and we get to look inside and see what's going on in there, because we can't step into who we really are when these things are blocking our authenticity. Okay, so we are coming toward the end of the hour, so the end of this half-hour program. So I always offer a free archetype card draw for anyone watching. So is there anyone who would like me to draw some of these cards for you? It's just a fun way to look and see what might be activated in you today. And it's always interesting what randomly comes up in the card draws. So is there anyone who wants to volunteer? And if not, I can just draw a generic one for anyone watching. So just put in the comments if you would like a card draw. Okay, I'm just going to give these another shuffle or two. Also, just to announce, Rejuvenate You, the 3-day event, transformational in-person event that I'm speaking at, is happening March 7th through 9th in Provo. Kaylin wants one. Does anybody else? And March is coming up in just 3 months. I can't believe it. 3 months. And so that means it's been 9 months since the last one. It was so much fun this past year. Rejuvenate You last March. And so if you could use some connection. Okay, Craig would like one. Okay. So if you could use some connection, if you have some answers that you need, there will be so many different speakers speaking on so many different topics and doing processes with the audience. So it's going to be, oops, one fell on the ground. That means we need that one. Okay. Lynn would like one archetype card and one parts work card. I do have the deck handy. Okay, so I'll do Lynn first, and then we'll do yours, okay? Okay. All right. Colin says, hi, would you like a card draw too? Okay. All right, Lynn, the one that popped out is the dilettante. I love the dilettante. So if you don't know what a dilettante is, here are the light attributes. Delights in the arts without having to be a professional. Delights in the arts without having to be a professional. Alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Okay, so sometimes I'm a dilettante, and I'm interested. Oh, I'm like, ooh, I want to learn to play the guitar. Ooh, I want to do watercolor painting. Ooh, I want to do dance. Ooh, I want to do this and this and this. And I never get really good at them. I just kind of like dabble. And that's lovely to try all these different things. But if you don't ever like keep practicing, I did not practice my guitar. I did not get the calluses. I could only play a few chords, a few Nirvana songs, you know. So sometimes I get a little bit too superficial, whereas I don't, commit and dedicate myself to something. The shadow attribute is pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. So do you know people like that? They're like, oh, I studied that. And they think they know so much about something just because they studied it for a little while, but they don't have the depth. So Lynn, do you have any thoughts on that one? And here is your, oh my gosh! Look what interactive card I drew for you. It's the Curmudgeon. I love these card draws. How they just always go along with something from the program. So he's got the dark cloud over his head. He's drawn a line in the sand with his stick. Do you see that? He's digging his heels in literally. So he's being stubborn. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want anyone to come into his space. He's got the angry cloud over his head. I don't think these two go together at all, but there's something interesting about this one for you, Lynn. I don't think it's literal. I don't think it's literal for you, but there's something there for you. Okay. Lynn says, I've never gotten the dilettante before. Interesting. I was just telling my wife on Saturday that I like giving an impromptu speech, but I don't enjoy honing and perfecting it and often skip that part. Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun to be in the moment and impromptu. Oh, you've done improv. And it's really exciting to like have that impromptu energy. But then when it comes down to putting in the work, you don't want to do the hard work because it's not as exciting maybe. Lynn says, I was definitely a curmudgeon at my work party Saturday night. I've been to too many of them. Yeah, I can relate to that feeling. Do I have to go to another party? I don't want to show up. I don't want to be around those people. Yeah. Okay. All right, Craig, are you still there? Set the intention. And we don't have much time, so I'll just draw one for you. Set the intention that the card that will be drawn will help you get the clarity you need today. All right. Let's see what we got. Ooh, we got the Destroyer. This one's come up before. Lynn's gotten this one before. I've pulled this one for myself many times. The Destroyer archetype, the light attribute of it seems like it's Destroyer. How could it be a light attribute? How could there be there's always a positive to every one of these. The light attribute is releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for a new life. And there's a picture of a volcano because the energy has to be released. The energy has to go somewhere. It can't just build up and build up forever. It has to be released. Preparing for a new life. So there's a book I love called Damien by Hermann Hesse, German writer, and in that book one of the central images is a bird breaking out of an egg, and it talks about how to be born the bird has to destroy a world, and the world is the egg, and there is no way for new life to come forth without that egg being destroyed and broken. And same thing with a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. The cocoon, it needed it for that time in order to transform, but then the chrysalis has to be destroyed. And so if we focus on the egg getting broken, then we could see birth as a horrible, violent, destructive thing. Or even childbirth, like with all of the pain and fear and risk and injury and just all of that stuff. If we focus on that stuff, then we miss the beauty of the new life that's coming forth, the miracle. And so the Destroyer is actually a very beautiful thing. The shadow attribute is intoxication with destructive power, destroying others' dreams or potential. So there you can take this energy way too far, but you get to look, Craig. You get to look at what do you get to release, and what new life do you get to prepare for coming forth from releasing that. So very, very interesting one. Okay, and let me know if you have any questions about that archetype. I think it's a fascinating one. I'm just looking it up in here really quick. So the impulse to destroy and rebuild is archetypal. If any of you have read the Fablehaven books by Brandon Mull, I was thinking about them because my son just started reading the series, and the ending of the series I have never forgotten, and I think about it often. It's kind of weird because I read it like 10 years ago, and I still think about it because it has this archetypal theme of destruction and creation that's really, really beautiful. Has anyone read that series? I love fantasy and sci-fi books. So the Destroyer can be beneficial when releasing that which is limiting us as therapists or spiritual masters who destroy our illusions. Ooh, that's interesting. Destroying illusions. I didn't think about it that way. Okay, so look for a pattern within your psyche that destroys relationships or promotes attitudes and opinions that destroy others' dreams or potential. Wow, I just made the connection with the Curmudgeon. The Curmudgeon has this need to destroy, like, the positive flow of energy from other people. They have this need to destroy it, and why? Why do Why do they have this impulse to bring other people down to their level? So interesting things to think about. All right, I will see you guys. Oh, if anyone wants to come to Rejuvenate You or gift it for a Christmas gift to someone who loves personal development events and lives in the Utah area, let me know. I have a super amazing deal for you. So yeah, reach out, and I will see all of you next Monday. Bye.